And I'm feeling a bit better than I was yesterday, so that's always a plus. I was semi-disappointed, I'll be honest with you, with the fact that I guess I worked really hard on yesterday's video. Was kind of out of it, actually, because I wasn't feeling well. I'm hoping that didn't come across too much in the last video, but it was one of my lower viewed videos of a long time, which is really odd considering it was one of my requested things, which was that box set. Anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about a couple different things. One is horror second takes, and the other is my complete, hey Andy, how's it going? My complete Doctor Who collection. So if you're a Whovian, a Doctor Who fan, you're going to really enjoy this part. If you like to see me eat a bit of crow as well, and you want to see me doing something that I'm going to start doing in some of my videos, perfect. Then you're also going to be a really big fan of this one, because I'm going to give my second takes on things that I have held fast on. Basically, what I did today was I decided that one of the things for the new year that I was going to do in certain videos is I'm going to revisit things and try to look at them through a different prospect, trying to see them through a different eye, per se. And the first one that I'm going to do is actually one that I have been really hyper severely critical of, and I'm going to give a different take on that than I normally do. And I actually dove into it quite a bit before I decided to do this. So if you're a fan of like the Doctor Who stuff, do you want me to start with that, or do you want me to start with the second take stuff? I leave that up to you guys right now as I drink my little bit of bubbly here. But what do you want first? My cat's over there, like getting all spiffy for the camera, I think, aren't you? Yes, you are. Doctor Who. Okay. So I've got I got a fairly big Doctor Who collection. So what we're going to look at right now is I'm going to go through my entire thing. Stop me anywhere on anything that you want to know about. I've got like I'll start with my modern Doctor Who, and then I'll go into I'll let my cat like have his privacy, and then I'll go into the newer stuff. Now, what I was originally going to do when I came in to do this video is, if you're aware of a company called Abbey Shot, they do a lot of like coats and like stuff for like basically that you can wear, and it can be used in cosplay. You know, I have the 10th Doctor's jacket, so you know the brown jacket with the blue lining on the inside of that. I have that. Totally geeky. I have that, and I was originally going to wear that down here for the video, but it gets warm down here in this basement actually. So let's, get into that. I'll wear that sometime, Andy. I'll show you another one. So this is kind of like one of the prize collection. When I talked to you yesterday about some of the things that I got when I talked about the Doctor, blah blah. I talked about the Harry Potter that I got for extremely cheap. One of the things that I got with that package that I bought was this right here, and this is something that I'm extremely proud of. David Tennant's like, you know, he's one of the best new doctors out there. This is my Doctor Who, like a complete series 1 to 7, plus the specials, plus a.
Here's what I found.
Oh no, you don't. Not this time. I've got to find a way to turn this damn thing off, because I don't want to be listening to Peter Cetera tonight. All right. We're not on camera anyway. So I'm going to open this up and show you guys what's inside. So first off, whoa, gotta get this right, is this here sonic screwdriver. Now this is actually a remote control that you can use for your TV set. I have actually have another one of these, like an actual one. Yeah, that's it. Or who is it? Or maybe it's yeah, we'll go with the Daleks. The Master. Master's my favorite Doctor Who villain, by the way. I found it hard to find the Daleks scary for like a long period of time, because I wasn't like of the age where then grew up when the Daleks were like super scary. I love Genesis, the Daleks, stuff like that. But when I really got into it, when I really became a fan of them, was actually was later on. And actually the recent Dalek story, I really, really like that. These seem scary and these seem threatening. and it was just one Dalek. So that was amazing. So this is the so this is series 1 right here with Chris Eccleston. One of my favorite Doctors, actually, and probably because yeah, with the hair, I could probably cosplay Chris Eccleston, so that's not too bad there. Of course, Tennant came in the second series. The first episode that Tennant has, and hey, Action Jackman, we're talking Doctor Who right now. The first episode that Tennant has in this series here is actually not the Christmas Invasion, because he's not in that enough. But New Earth is actually not very good. I actually really wasn't a fan of Tennant when he first came in, because I thought like this, oh, is this going to be what he's going to be like? He did one great season, and he was fabulous. Next up is probably one of my favorite series of Doctor Who, like bar none, is this one right here with Martha. I really, really like this. There's a lot of solid episodes in this series right here. We got like Daleks in Manhattan. The Shakespeare Code is really, really good. Of course, the Human Nature, Family of Blood two-parter was amazing, and of course, Vote Harry Saxon. I love that aspect of it. Next up was my favorite companion of the new Doctor Who series. Yeah, Eccleston was a guy that I'd seen in shows, but usually played kind of a nebbish character. You know, like in oh god, the Criterion one they put out. You know, where he's a roommate with like Ewan McGregor and a girl and the kill guy. The Master was fantastic. Series 4 with Donna. I love Donna because there's no more like romance stuff. It's not just trying to throw stuff on you. Donna's just really, really fun. And I was really surprised because I hated Donna in the Christmas special where they introduced her. So when they said that there was going to be a Donna season, I was really, really nervous, but she turned out to be fantastic. These were the specials, which I think were all pretty good, except for one that I really didn't like, which is The Wives of Mars. And that's because I really did not like the dark aspect that they took Tennant on. And the suicide at the end of the episode was really... I know why they did it, but I just found it was a little bit disturbing for me. Now, the next one is my better half's favorite Doctor. That is Matt Smith. Although, like, he definitely had a lot of, like, off and on, like, some weaker stories. He was fantastic. And I think it's a shame that he actually thinks that people didn't like him. Because people really, really did. And he got in he did get in like some of the younger viewers as well, and some of the female viewers, which isn't bad. Like that's something people use as something negative against him, that he actually got in more viewers and people that weren't watching Doctor Who. Of course, we got one of my next favorite companion right here, which is Karen Gillan. Up to the season 2 finale. Oh, are you like just watching it? As in like this is new. So I'm gonna try not spoil anything for you then, okay? And these are the Christmas specials. The first 3. No, it's not. No, this is the best of the Christmas specials. The Brits list, Doctor Who's ultimate list of lists, and Doctor Who at the proms. So, it's a bonus one right there. Now that's not all it has though. So let me just quickly take out the other thing that actually kind of comes in here. I'm actually very, very proud of this set. So next up is this, which are a couple cards, art cards actually. So I'll show you those really quickly. And very brilliantly done. That is Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith. Nowadays there'd be 2 more to add there. We'd have to add Capaldi and Whitaker. I guess we'd have the War Doctor, right? And because John Hurt. And also in here as well was a again, guys, what a comic book geek I am. Is a Doctor Who comic as well. You're invited to join for a birthday party in honor of the Doctor, and it's actually pretty cool. We get to see Matt Smith. This is one of my favorite pictures because it actually shows the other iterations, the earlier iterations of the Doctor there. You can see Chris Eccleston, David Tennant, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, Colin Baker, Peter Davison, Tom Baker. We get like John Pertwee here. There's William Hartnell, and of course Patrick Troughton. Hey, Dave Katana, we are talking Doctor Who. And one of my most proud things that I have I said it's yeah. I gotta say, they really did a good job putting this set together. It's brilliantly done, and I was really like stoked to get this. I'm not quite sure the availability of the set now. You guys probably know. It's probably still available. I'm not somebody that keeps up with that type of stuff, as you guys are probably pretty aware by now. Most of the time when I find out this stuff, I find it from you guys. But anyway, this was my series of my new Doctor series, basically set that I've gotten. I got to get like the other ones that are right there. Some of them, I think one's gone out of print right now, but so I'll look for it online. Like I want the bigger set, like the Capaldi set and that. So that's, by the way, if you just came in, this is my brilliant Doctor Who set, which I love. You know, I've got a lot of Doctor Who stuff to show you guys, so I love the Planet of the Apes. I gotta get the 4Ks for the new ones, right? I don't have those yet. And I'll be honest with you, I have not watched the last Planet of the Apes movie yet because I don't have the 4K. I want to see it in 4K. So let me put this thing over here. I've got like a lot of like, I'll show you the single DVD stuff, and then I'll show you the box sets. I got a lot of like classic box sets. I need to get the Apes cartoon too. I used to like that when I was a kid. And the TV series only lasted a short time. So, first off are a couple of like regular things. So I'll show you those first before I get into the cool stuff. So this is the Christmas specials, and this has like all of them here from the Christmas Invasion, which of course I got there as well. The Runaway Bride, Voyage of the Damned, The Next Doctor, The End of Time, parts 1 and 2. Christmas Carol, The Doctor, The Widow, and the Wardrobe, which is the worst Christmas special that they put out. The Snowman, The Time of the Doctor, and Last Christmas with Peter Capaldi. And there's a bonus exclusive new feature. Rufus Hound is on a mission to discover what makes a Doctor Who Christmas so special. Pretty cool. It's a multi-disc set, actually. I think it's like 3 or 4 discs. Yeah, it's a 4-disc set, and one that I really kind of dig. So if you're a Doctor Who fan and you like their Christmas ones, now they're going to be starting doing the New Year's ones, because now it's a New Year's tradition. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully that sticks, because he started well with the New Year stuff. Next up, of course, is the Daleks Doctor Who set. I had to grab this. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who, and I'm a huge fan of the Daleks, mostly the classic episodes, though, over the newer stuff. I did like the Christopher Eccleston stuff, and then I thought that he used the Daleks too much, and I'm glad that he pulled back and like used them like special. After seeing no classic villains this entire series, it was really special to see like a Dalek come back and come back in a different way. So this one here has some fantastic stuff. It's got some of the new stuff like Dalek, which was the best Doctor Who like Dalek story in the modern era for me. There's A Stolen Earth, Journey's Time, Journey's End. There's Asylum of the Daleks with Matt Smith, and of course Peter Capaldi's Into the Dalek. Now it's got a classic Dalek story, what I consider to be the greatest Dalek story, one of the 2 greatest Dalek stories of all time. That is Genesis of the Daleks, an amazing 6-part Tom Baker episode. If you have not seen it, please, that is the one to start with. It is the introduction of Davros, and it really gives us, it does literally give us the genesis of the Daleks, and it has Tom Baker asking that fateful question, do I have the right to do this? And it is brilliant. Amazingly done. There's a documentary in there called Daleks Origins, so yes, really cool. But when I was growing up, the Daleks were not my favorite monster. Tom Baker is amazing, isn't he? Like, if you literally thought like there could be a real alien and a real doctor coming down from Gallifrey, a real Doctor Who, then you would picture Tom Baker being exactly what that is. Now, I do think that, you know, I love all the Doctors in the new era as well, but I do think out of all of them, in the newer era, I think that Matt Smith is the most alien, David Tennant's the most accessible. And I would say probably Tom Baker's probably the first Doctor I saw too, Andy. Like I went, like as in like seeing them when a lot of them were airing. Peter Davison was the first, Tom Baker to Peter Davison was the first regeneration I saw. This is my favorite villain. Not this version. I hate this version of the Cybermen. See this? I hate the modern day Cybermen. I truly truly do not like them at all. The only Cybermen that I've liked, like this kind of modern era, but they weren't really, was when they brought back the Cybermen at the end of Peter Capaldi's era. That, you know, the classic Cybermen, I like those. But this one here has the Army of Ghosts, Doomsday, blah, Closing Time, and Nightmare in Silver, and Dark Water, Death in Heaven, which is better. But this has the classic Earthshock. And if you've been watching Doctor Who at all, then you know Earthshock. It is a classic Doctor Who episode. It is the death of a companion. Things matter. And it's a shocking episode of the kill off a companion. The make the neat choice of actually not playing the theme music at the end of the episode to give it more of a somber tone to it, and it really, really works. So if you haven't watched it in a long time, watch Earthshock again. It's really good. Now, see, the new Cybermen, I know what they were trying to do. Yeah, see, they were cool. They were creepier because they had like they were like, for me, the Tom Baker era of Cybermen is really good, and the early Cybermen in the black and white's creepy. Doctor Who really benefited from black and white. There's fantastic stuff done in the color era, especially around the Tom Baker, John Pertwee era. But that being said, one of the later like original series Dalek episodes, I think it's Remembrance of the Daleks, I think, was brilliant, and that was Sylvester McCoy. I think it's so. My cousin Raj, hey Culture, we're talking Doctor Who, and then I have like a kind of a real cool little horror thing that I wanted to do at the end of this. Got me these, and I got to get the other one. There's another one of these, and this is the Doctor Revisited. So this was a show that came on BBC. So if you're in Britain, you know this here. Doctor Revisited would come on, and what they did was they would show like a documentary on each of the Doctors, followed by a what they would call one of the best episodes in their era. So each one would get usually like a 45-minute documentary, that type of thing. So William Hartnell, the first Doctor, got the episode The Aztecs play after his. So this has the documentaries and the episodes that played. The second one was The Tomb of the Cybermen, which was Patrick Troughton's, and it is a fantastic episode. If you've never seen it, you want to see the Cybermen look scary and, you know, be utilized well, then look no farther than The Tomb of the Cybermen. The third one, John Pertwee, he kind of went with like not one of his best, but went with his first, and that is Spearhead from Space, which I can kind of understand, but it's kind of Pertwee light compared to like some of the later Pertwee stuff. And for Tom Baker, they went the classic Pyramids of Mars, which is a fantastic episode, one of the best. And it is where Tom Baker says the thing that one of the things that truly made me a fan of Tom Baker and made me a fan of his Doctor. This is Sarah Jane. She's my very best friend. I miss you, Elizabeth Sladen. I had such a crush on her. She was amazing and incredible and smart and everything that you wanted a companion to be, without having to overtake and become the everything companions that you have nowadays, where they have to be so like entrenched in the story to the point that they push the Doctor out of the story. And look how smart I am. Look what a brilliant companion I am. Look how important of a character I am. I'm not just a companion. They could do that without going overboard with it in the old series, and they did it well. I think the best one that did it in the new series was the Dr. Donna, where she did become an important character, but her story was encompassed within one complete arc, within one series, without overtaking David Tennant's role as the Doctor. So this is the second set that came out, and and here we get Earthshock again, which is the one that they would do for Peter Davison. David Tennant's favorite Doctor is Peter Davison. So much so that he married his daughter. I'm not joking. The Doctor's daughter. That's actually the daughter of Peter Davison. He's married to David Tennant's married to her. So that's a little bit odd one there. So Colin Baker. Of course, was Vengeance on Varos. There was really nothing else that would have been. Remembrance of the Daleks, Sylvester McCoy, one of the great Daleks episodes of all time. Just so good. And of course, Paul McGann. There's only one to choose from, and that was Doctor Who, the movie. And if you're a newer fan of Doctor Who, there was like a failed attempt to bring Doctor Who back a few years back with a Fox TV movie. It was a co-production between Fox and BBC, and he tried to Americanize the Doctor a bit. and they gave him like they said he was half human and all this kind of stuff. It didn't stick. It didn't go with it, but it was a fun little thing, and I did remember watching it back in the day when it premiered on television. So that is the two Doctor Who Revisited sets. Next one is one that I really do enjoy, and I got to get the Blu-rays of this one, and this is the Dalek Collection. So this is the original Dalek Collection. It has the original Doctor Who and the Daleks and Daleks Invasion Earth. Now these are Amicus films, so you know I've spoke about Amicus before. Amicus and Hammer were like two big companies. There's also a feature-length commentary on the films, and Dalek Mania, the definitive Dalek documentary. It runs 57 minutes long, and it's actually pretty cool. I don't think it's the definitive Dalek documentary though, because there's actually some good documentaries on some of the sets as well that we're going to get into. Now this one here is actually pretty cool. This was the first time Doctor Who was seen in color. Was in the theater. This is Peter Cushing playing Doctor Who, and his Doctor Who is actually not from Gallifrey. His Doctor Who is human. It's very different, but we got to see the. Oh yeah, Paul McGann was the one where the Eric Roberts was the Master. Well, the Master took over his body. Eric Roberts' character was actually an ambulance attendant, and the Master's body was kind of like destroyed by the Daleks, which is kind of referenced at the beginning of the episode. We can hear the exterminate, and the Doctor is kind of taking basically taking his essence, his ashes type of thing, and the Master gets into Eric Roberts, and hijinks ensue. Eric Roberts would be known as a very good actor, but a very bad choice to play the Master. Maybe it would have been a better choice if it would have been better writing, but unfortunately it was not. So here you're going to see some of my Doctor Who like single stuff before I get into my regular stuff. So I'm going to start and kind of do this like by Doctor. So I don't have a lot of the first Doctor. So I guess I'll let you guys see. So I've got the Slim the Beginning set. I got this one for my birthday one year. Actually, how big of a Doctor Who fan am I? Well, my better half actually got me a surprise Doctor Who cake. It was a huge, and I do mean huge, shaped like a TARDIS cake with all this, the fondant and stuff on there. It was forever. We're forever eating that cake. So this is the beginning. It's where you start. It has the Unearthly Child, the Daleks, the first Dalek episode, and of course one of my favorite episodes of the original Doctor, and that is the Edge of Destruction. Really like this. Really trippy. I really like the trippy stuff. Next up is the Kiza Marinus. Yeah, she's got me some amazing cakes over the years. I wish I had pictures of them here to show you. Kiza Marinus, very good, and this is kind of what the first kind of like arc storyline for Doctor Who, because it's got an overall arc, but it goes with different storylines for each episode. It's actually really, really cool. Next up is Planet of Giants, which I guess is a really fun kind of Bird-Eye Gordon type episode. And this one is actually kind of special because this is Doctor Who, the Aztecs, and that is Carolyn Ann Ford, Verity Lambert's. She's one of the creators of Doctor Who, and of course William Russell was on the back there. So that's the three names that that have signed this one right here. And if you're a Doctor Who fan, especially a classic Doctor Who fan, you're going to know Carolyn Ann Ford and William Russell and Verity, especially Verity Lambert. You should know who that is. So let's go next into one of my favorites, which unfortunately don't have enough of them, and that is the Patrick Troughton stuff. So I've got the Underwater Menace, includes the Lost episodes, of course. The Crotons, one of those, because the Crotons are one of the many many monsters they tried to use to kind of take over for the Daleks, and it didn't really work. But there you go. And of course the classic one. I thought I had more. I'm probably going to come across some more Patrick Troughton. Is this one right here, the War Games. This was a huge one. It was the last story for Patrick Troughton, and it's epic. It's like I think it's like 10 episodes long. It's like a 3-disc set. If you have members of John Pertwee, definitely if you haven't, like go back and look at some Patrick Troughton stuff, especially if you like watch Matt Smith, because there's a real big correlation between them. And just like to let you guys know, there's a lot of these here have like amazing features on them. I won't go into all. I'd be here all night if I went into the features. One of the things that they have is each Doctor has comic strips, right? So every Doctor has a special like episode, like kind of feature called Strip for Action, and that's where you talk about comics for each Doctor. So when you're looking for features, if you're a comic book fan, then look for the ones that are Strip for Action. I think the War Games had it for this one, did it? Yeah, War Games had the Strip for Action and a bunch of like features, like really good featurettes on here as well. I'm not quite sure where the Strip for Action is for the first one, but the Lambert tapes definitely stuff to check out, and amazing stuff on here. So that's the the first two Doctors. But you said that you know Murdersville, you know Jon Pertwee. So let's get into some of the Pertwee era stuff for Doctor Who. You're going to see that I got a lot more Tom Baker because I grew up with Tom Baker. But I've got a Day of the Daleks. Hey, do they ever sell them? Do you ever sell them, Kiri Clever? So this is Day of the Daleks. It's a kind of a cheesy one. There's the creatures that kind of remind me of like modern day. You know, the what do you call them from Star Wars? Almost Star Trek. It's killing me. The Klingons. Thank you. Kind of a Klingonish look. So there you go with Day of the Daleks. Then of course there was Death to the Daleks. Some of the better Dalek episodes weren't in the Jon Pertwee era, unfortunately. But these next two are actually really good. I'm really surprised they never used these again. The Claws of Access. That's actually a really good episode. And one of my personal favorites right here is the Daemons. This is, of course, Roger Delgado's master, definitely at his best. This is Doctor Who kind of meets the Wicker Man. It's kind of cultish. Like basically the master plays, well, he's a priest, and it's very well done. If you've never seen this one, I strongly recommend it. Really good, really solid episode, and does hit, if you're a horror fan, it does hit a little, kind of a bit of the horror territory. Now the horror territory will become much more pervasive during the episodes here with Tom Baker, and this is where you're going to see a few of my oh, you're not Tom Baker, you don't get in here. Not yet anyway. So this is, of course, the classic Pyramids of Mars, one of my favorite episodes with Tom Baker. This is actually extremely cool, and that is Sarah Jane, his very best friend. Next up is Genesis of the Daleks. This was voted for a long time the #1 Doctor Who story ever. I still think it is. The period set Tom Baker's? Yeah, that will be the Holmes Hinchcliffe era of Tom Baker. That was a very gothic, very Hammer inspired era. With writer Robert Holmes and Philip Hinchcliffe as the producer on the series at the time. This is during the Genesis era as well. Of course, there is some of the later stuff like the Mask of Mazrago. We still have like one of my favorites, Horror of Fang Rock. I really do love this episode. If you're a fan of like the Centaurians, this is the only time you ever see the enemies that the Centaurians like are fighting in that huge epic Centaurian war battle that we always hear about. This is the only time those enemies actually show up on the screen, and it's in a gothic murder mystery style episode of Doctor Who set at a lighthouse. If you've never seen this one, you like the horror style of Doctor Who, definitely check this one out. It's a really good episode. Next up is the first Doctor Who DVD that I ever bought, because I know one of you guys are going to ask me that. What's the first Doctor Who DVD I ever bought? It's this one right here. The Deadly Assassin. This was my favorite Doctor Who episode growing up. I used to watch this one over and over again. I had this taped off from PBS. I love the creepy look of the Master. I love the way the story went. Much later when I found out that it pissed off, what's her face? Oh God, that girl. I'm sure her name would be mentioned on the back here somewhere. The nutcase to try to get everything censored. So pissed her off in England, so that made me happy. Next up is one that I actually bought at a thrift shop. And that is the Leisure Hive. Not a bad one. And the last episode with Sarah Jane Smith is The Hand of Fear. The ending of this episode when I was a kid Kind of broke my heart. Uh, I was really surprised to see him leaving. This is a story that leads into the only story where in the classic era where the Doctor goes without a companion, and that was the one I just showed you, the Deadly Assassin. So this Hand of Fear is a story before the Deadly Assassin, and although the Deadly Assassin is one of my favorites, the Hand of Fear was a bit heartbreaking because I was saying goodbye to one of my favorite companions, Sarah Jane. Actually, my favorite companion, Sarah Jane. So before I get into the sets, I got a few more to show you. And there are 3 episodes, 3 discs here from the 5th Doctor, Peter Davison, and we have The Awakening. Just fun little, like, kind of like sort of a, I guess, like a period episode. The 5 Doctors. I remember when this came out, I was super excited to see this. This is where we get the other actor. I think it's Richard Hurd. Is that Richard Hurd? I'm trying to remember now. That played I had to play William Hartnell's part because William Hartnell, of course, had passed on. It's kind of comical because Tom Baker doesn't come back, so they just use an episode of an unfinished episode at the time called Shada, which actually is out to get now. And this is King's Demons, which is one that I thought was really fun. It has the new master there, and that's Anthony Hanley, and I really did like his really campy portrayal of the master. Some people like rag on him a lot, but I thought he did a really good job. Only have one single one for the who's doing on this one. So I just have to check something here. So this one is the Mark of the Rani, and that one is signed. And that one is signed by Kate O'Mara on the inside. That is the Rani. She's passed away now, unfortunately. She was one of my big crushes. And it is signed by Colin there on the outside of it. Now I have 2 from the my second Doctor Who DVD that I ever bought was this one here, Time in the Rani. I like that. Cheesy episode, lots of fun though. Sylvester McCoy before he became like super good. But I wanted this here for like a lot of the features that were on it. I wanted to see want to listen to the commentary. So that's Sylvester McCoy's Time in the Rani, and of course there is Paradise Tower. Now that being said, is that all I got for Doctor Who? That's all I got for the single discs. And the reason that I have less of single discs is because I've got a few box sets to show you guys. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So one of the only like kind of North American box sets that I picked up is this one here, which is The Key to Time. It is a complete series of Doctor Who. This I was super stoked to get. This is the I think it's a 7-disc set, I think. Yep, 7 discs, and really well done. This was when Douglas Adams was actually kind of like the story runner, the head runner for Doctor Who, and this one's done differently than a lot of the other ones. It kind of opens up like this, and it's like a book, and you get like the Ribos operation, the what's the next one? Oh, the Pirate Planet, which I think is Douglas Adams. Stones of Blood, which is actually a pretty famous one. Then we get the what's it called? The Androids of Terra, and the Power of Krull, and the Armageddon Factor. I totally forgot them actually, and the special features Armageddon Factor. I got 2 discs. So this one has like some really good features on here as well. And this is the only one that has the Romana 1, and she was amazing. There's a lot of really good features on this one here. It talks about Hammer horror, by the way. So this one here, the Stones of Blood, was really kind of inspired by Hammer, and they actually got a little mini featurette on Hammer Films on this one. So there's no like Doctor order for this because some of these kind of overlap. So if you have the chance and you can find them, the first 3 sets, if you've never collected Doctor Who before and you want to collect, you want to start collecting the classic Doctor Who, what I consider to be like ones that everybody should have are the revisitation sets. Basically what happened is that they put out some really good Doctor Who stuff really early on, but really early on, unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of features for a lot of those sets. So what they did was revisited some of the best Doctor Who episodes and some of the early stuff that had come out and put it in these 3 sets, these revisitation sets. They would later start doing special editions and stuff like that, but before that, they did them as these sets here, revisitations. So this is Revisitations 1, and it has has its Talons of Wing Chang. If you've never seen that one, see it. It's really great, especially if you like Hammer stuff, you like Gothic stuff, you like Fu Manchu, that stuff that's there. The absolute best episode of Peter Davison's era is his last one, and that's the Caves of Androzani. And of course, there's Doctor Who, the movie. Hey, PlayStation Now, we're talking Doctor Who right now, and we're going to talk a little bit of horror afterwards as well. That with a little thing that I wanted to talk about called Second Take. So, just to show you guys exactly what this is like, this is the Doctor Who, the movie special edition. Most of these, except for one, actually run 2 discs long, and as you can see, there's the master as Eric Roberts right there. Each of these would have a booklet with it and a bunch of features. Of course, this one here is stripped for strip for action. The comic book of Paul McGann would be on this one right here. What's really, really good is they had something called Doctor Who: The Wilderness Years, and I think part of that is on this set right here. Basically, the Wilderness Years is when Doctor Who was actually not on the air, and they were actually just trying to find ways. Hey, welcome. We're talking Doctor Who, so you know that. The Talons of Wang Chang, there's Tom Baker there, and really cool episode. This is really kind of like cheesy kind of scene with this like giant rat, and it's really, really fun. There's a lot of this would probably not pass the muster nowadays when you really think about it. See, this is much better than Sahara. This is Doctor Who. And of course the classic Caves of Androzani. This Perry on the Google Doc list. See, everybody else here likes Doctor Who's Savannah. So, it's definitely like if you're a new fan, this is definitely the best way to start. Do you have the revisitation sets, Andy? You don't like Doctor Who? You lost the point of coolness, Daikatan. You're still awesome, but you still lost the point of coolness for that. Especially for classic Doctor Who. A few of them. So the revisitation sets there were 3. They might be actually. I'm not quite sure. Of the so these here are some of the better ones. This is Seeds of Death, Carnival of Monsters, and Resurrection of the Daleks. This is actually 3 fantastic ones. Seeds of Death is really good, Patrick. Hey G, welcome, dude. It's been a while. Patrick, do you like Doctor Who? You get cool points if you like Doctor Who. Have a good evening, Savannah. You're gonna miss out on the other cool stuff, but okay. Yeah, let me know. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Carnival of Monsters was a great episode by John Pertwee, and Resurrection of the Daleks was definitely a strong episode, a very strong episode, Dalek episode, done with Peter Davison. So if you have not checked it, that's when you really get to see some really good Peter Davison stuff going on. Next up is the third one, and one of my favorites, because it has 3 episodes that are really really on top. And that is the Tomb of the Cybermen, which is of course with Patrick Troughton. Had some at one point. If you can get it, I'm serious. If you get this as a decent price, these are really cool. The 3 Doctors, which is a really fun episode, introduces Omega to the Doctor Who lore. Is who going? Are you asking? I'm going horror soon, or Doctor Who's going horror soon? Doctor Who has been horror since before. I got to get that set. And of course, there's the Robots of Death, which is one of kind of like an Agatha Christie murder mystery in space on a space station, and that one is really, really good. Yeah, I'm going to go horror after Doctor Who. Expand your mind, Daikatana. Expand your mind. That's what I'm going to be in horror second take. So if you're here for that, definitely you're going to like that. At least I hope you will, because I worked really hard on the horror second takes. So this is the kind of the cool Mr. Roboto style, like robot. It's really well done. The Robots of Death is extremely well done. If you're a newer fan and you've never seen any of the older Doctor Who stuff, Robots of Death is actually extremely well put together. Now let's grab some of the original. The first Doctor Who box set that I ever picked up myself wasn't the Visitations. It was this one right here, Bred for War, the Sontaran Sontaran collection, right? So this is actually now the Sontarans were used a lot in like newer Doctor Who, especially for comedic effect. But they actually came out originally for the Time War. That was the first like episode with Sarah Jane. That's John Pertwee. Then there was the Sontaran Experiment that was in the first series of Tom Baker. So that should be on that new Blu-ray set that you just mentioned there, actually. And then there was Invasion of Time, which was another Tom Baker one. And of course, there was The Two Doctors, which was a Colin Baker one. And there was a very kind of like, that had Colin Baker and Patrick Troughton. And it was a very dark like one because the Sontarans there's cannibalism in this aspect of the characters, which had never been like put in there before. It's very, very dark. So definitely one that I strongly recommend checking out if you like the horror aspect of that type of stuff. Next set is a Doctor Who set right here. This one is actually has a really important autograph on it, and that would be right there. That is Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor, and for many people's favorite Doctor. So that is Mr. Baker himself. Now, this one here is, if you're a real big fan of Doctor Who, then that name up there is going to mean a lot to you. This is Revenge of the Cybermen, and the autograph on this one here is by Philip Hinchcliffe, who pretty much single-handedly produced the horror era of Doctor Who. Have you yet to see the female one? Female one, she's good, but the writing in the first half of the season is not solid. Second half's much better, and the New Year's Eve special is fantastic. New Year's special is fantastic. But, and on this one here, I have, so this one is signed by Sylvester McCoy and a little guy by the name of Andrew Cartmel, who created some of my favorite Doctor Who. So that was the signatures for that one there. So this one here is Myths and Legends. That's like three kind of like more random stuff. So we got the Hordes of Nimon. And this one here is the Time Monster. So that has a few of the people that played like on the show, including like the guy that played Benton. If you're a Doctor Who fan, then you know Unit, then you know who Benton is. So Benton is one of the people that actually signed this one right here. This was also signed by, I gotta get the name here, Katie Manning, of course, who played Joe Grant. Richard Franklin, who was Mike Yates, also signed this. So all of Unit signed this one here, except for, I don't think that I got the signature from the Brigadier. Not on this one anyway. And, and last, but definitely not least, is Underworld, and it is signed by the lovely Louisa Jameson, who, of course, played Layla in Doctor Who. So, you know, she would be the one that had the knife and the sexy type outfit. The Raquel Welch of the Doctor Who era. There's only a few more of these to go for people that don't like Doctor Who, and then we're going to get into horror second takes. Don't worry about that. So next up is the Paladin Tales. Again, very, very cool stuff. Really big fan of the Paladin Tales. For people that watch Doctor Who now and say things like, I can't believe Doctor Who has gotten all political. How's that happen? How's Doctor Who gotten all political? Because Doctor Who is always bloody political. You just have them watching it long enough, or you don't watch things beyond the very barest surface of something. Who signed this one again? It might have been Terrence. That's yeah, probably Terrence Dix. So that's Curse of Paladin. And this is the Monster Paladin. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, the people that say that, Andy, are usually people that don't actually watch the show. They just have like agendas that you want to complain about. Oh, this one got tore. This is the Mannequin Mania. This has the, of course, the Autons. So, you know, Terror of the Autons here, and Spirit from Space, which is the first episode, but with John Pertwee. This is one of my favorites. This is the Black Guardian trilogy. I really did like this storyline. That introduces Turlough to the series, and we finally have a companion that's actually actively trying to sabotage or kill the Doctor in some portions of the show. I actually remember watching that the first time. I got a Terminus here, and that's Sarah Sutton in the middle, and that's her autograph right there. She's beautiful. I had a lot of crushes for Doctor Who. I apologize. We're trying to remember some of these here. It might be Mark Strickson. I can't quite tell. But anyway, so that's Enlightenment. And of course, that is, I'm sure that's Paul, right? Modern Undead. It's just probably Peter Davison. Next up is one of my favorite Doctor Who sets, and one that I do recommend you get, and that is New Beginnings. It is really, really fun. So Beginnings is the original Doctor Who set, but New Beginnings is when they took the epic Tom Baker and they transformed him into the very young Peter Davison, who at the time was the youngest person to ever play Doctor Who. And he's probably one of the most known actors at the time, like for TV and stuff, to play the Doctor, because he was actually pretty famous for being on All Creatures Great and Small. He had a really big role in that series. So to have, when they said that, the guy from All Creatures Great and Small is going to be Doctor Who, it was kind of like, say what again? So this actually really kind of leads in. There's an East-based trilogy that I don't have that kind of leads into this. This is the Keeper of Traken. This is where we get the Return of the Master. Logopolis, there you can see Anthony Hanley definitely has the Master right there. And we see the Watcher. It's a character that was never used in Doctor Who again, which is a shame because it was actually a really good premise. And of course, the Doctor Who, this is the first Peter Davison one, and that's Castrovalva, which is actually really, really good and really underrated for an opening Doctor episode. Next up is Ace Adventures. Ace, of course, is probably one of the most famous original series, along with Sarah Jane. She's probably one of the most famous actors. He is actually. Tennant is married to Davison's daughter. So yeah, he's definitely her father-in-law. It's kind of ironic that the guy that he most idolized in the world as, his favorite Doctor actually ended up being his father-in-law. Hopefully they get along in real life. So this is Dragonfire, and that's of course Sophie Aldred's right there. And this is the Happiness Patrol. Really fun, underrated episode, by the way. You mean Benedict Cumberbatch? Now, he's too big into that. I mean, you could probably see the guy that played Moriarty. He could probably do a little bit before, because Cumberbatch is too big. If you ever, and I hope they never do this, make a Doctor Who theatrical film again, because they were going to do one with Steven Spielberg, and I was never wanted it to happen, never, even as a kid. Trial of a Time Lord. This is an awesome box set. See, Doctor Who went off the air for people that don't know, 18 months. During the time period between the two series, they actually did a song, Doctor in Distress. Cumberbatch, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. Basically, Doctor in Distress was a song much like Do You Know It's Christmas, We Are the World type of thing, trying to get Doctor Who back on the air. It's really bad. I really recommend that you listen to this, that you watch the video on YouTube. Don't think badly of them. They were just doing what they had to do at the time. But this is a really cool series. So basically, this is the complete year that they did it. When they say Trial of a Time Lord, they really mean it. Doctor Who was literally on trial this year. And it was so close to being taken off the air by Michael Grade, permanently. Michael Grade, may you rest in peace. You were hell for me for Doctor Who. I hated your guts back in the day, sir. But this was actually really well done. Each series kind of went into to its own thing. It went into some dark stuff. Mysterious Planet. We got Mind Warp. We got this much is this one. Terror of the Vervoids. They actually kind of look. We're not going to go into what they look like. And of course the end one, The Ultimate Foe, which was originally supposed to be written by Robert Holmes, but he passed away. So It ended up being written by the Bakers, Pippin Jane Baker. Probably some of the worst writers for Doctor Who. All right, next up is the Unit Files, and it has a couple like kind of the classic episodes on here, kind of like cheesy fun stuff. That's Invasion of the Dinosaurs, and oh, I did not notice there was. Yep, another one with Benton and on here, as well as two of the Unit actors. Another one. See, Benton did a few of these. So the Android invasion. This is actually kind of creepy. That used to freak me out when I was a kid. When Sarah Jane kind of gets pushed down and her face comes off, and it's like this android of Sarah Jane. It was super creepy as a kid, and I was really really into it. Again, there's Beneath the Surface. Yes, dinosaurs. And this has the Solarians on here. The sea. So basically, we got Doctor and the Solarians, we got the Sea Devils, and Warriors of the Deep. I don't think this is one of the. Of course, this is a Legacy collection. This has a Shada, which was for the longest time was kind of That's the second Romana. Now she was actually married. A lot of you guys are going to remember Gremlins. Gremlins was kind of freaky. Yeah, as a kid, it would be. Remember her as basically it being in Hammer in the Vampire Circus. Yeah, she was the one of the vampires in the circus, one of the big vampires, and of course they were married for a short period of time. She was the second Romana. She was Romana 2, and this is the documentary More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS. Fun, a little bit cheesy, but kind of fun. Something I go back to every once in a while. Next up is the Dalek War. This, of course, is Frontier in Space, Planet of the Daleks. These, I remember buying these on my own, so these were just super cool stuff that I wanted to have, like kind of get as much of the John Pertwee as I possibly can. I was a really big fan of Pertwee. Now, this is more of the original stuff. This is the Space Museum and the Chase. Some of the sillier episodes. Originally, I'm not sure if it was the Space Museum or the Chase. One of them was supposed to have the Beatles in it, but their manager wouldn't let them do it, which I think is a shame, really is a shame. And again, William Russell's autographs on that one right there. So there's only 3 more left for people that don't like Doctor Who that actually stayed around. Congratulations. You basically get some cool points from me. If you left and you're watching this later on, shame on you for leaving. Because this is fun. This is my childhood. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate that. You're not the biggest fan of Doctor Who, but you're here anyway. I seriously appreciate that. So, K9 Tales. This is K9. For people that don't like Doctor Who, this is going to be the silliest thing in the world. For people that do like Doctor Who, you're either on the fence, you either like him or you don't. But K9 was so this has The Invisible Enemy, which is the first episode of K9, and the pilot for K9. It's a series with Sarah Jane called A Girl's Best Friend. It's pretty atrocious, but it's a fun watch. Not really quite. It's really fun. I like, especially like the early stuff, the black and white stuff. Cuba Glover, I think that you'd be more a fan of, because it is very low budget, but it was kind of like something that I think you might enjoy because there's a lot of like throwbacks to like other things and other films and movies. This is the original beginning set that came out. I actually had to get this one as well. I had the slim case and I had to get the original one because I had a chance. And this is probably one of my favorite things. This is Lost in Time because a lot of the William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton, especially Patrick Troughton episodes, were lost. Some of them have been found since then. Yeah, there's like a lot of. Then this has like random episodes that were able to be salvaged and that were found. Stuff on here from like the Crusade, the Daleks' Master Plan, the Celestial Toymaker, Underwater Menace, which we actually saw, like completed, Moonbase, Faceless Ones, Eve of the Daleks, Abominable Snowman, which was a big one. My favorite is Enemy of the World, which he actually did kind of bring back with like with the extra episodes in that. Enemy of the World has Patrick Troughton playing the Doctor and playing an evil character that just happens to look like the Doctor. So that, my friends, is my complete Doctor Who episode. Don't worry, I'm not going to that part of the episode. No, Cubicle. They were, but you have to understand the time they were done, and you have to remember this was a show done on the BBC, back from the 1960s up to 1989. They were done extremely cheap, but the black and white episodes specifically were extremely good, because you could take some of the stuff that would be glaringly bad, especially in the later episodes, like in the 60s, in the 80s episodes, be it, you know, in color and everything, actually kind of has an eerier like feel to it when you're looking at some of the earlier black and white episodes. Yeah, they got plain lazy with some of the stuff, but the writing near the end, and it was actually really good. Now, I would say for me, some of it I found better than some of the Star Trek facts, but yeah, you're right. It's around that same level. But that's the thing. Both Star Trek, the original series, and Doctor Who add something that a lot of modern day sci-fi shows like don't have. That's actual like good writing that runs like consistently over like a period of time. But definitely that is my Doctor Who portion of this video. Anybody that liked it, please feel free to thumbs up. And if you stayed around, I'm giving you guys an actual thumbs up for going through the Doctor Who portion of it. Exactly. You have to like watch them in the mindset of like when they were intended to be done. Some of them I do feel like kind of stand the test of time, for me anyway. But remember, I get to see a lot of this with nostalgic like glasses put on, because I did watch it as a child, and I grew up watching Doctor Who. It's one of the things that was consistent throughout my life, from Doctor Who to the magazines, to the comics, to the audios, a lot of that stuff. So anyway, the second portion of my video, what I wanted to do was kind of like horror second takes. So that's when. Thanks a lot, Andy. I'm glad that there's people here that appreciate my Doctor Who stuff, because it's a huge part of my life, and it's really important for me to be able to share all this stuff with you guys and get into all kinds of different aspects. I really want to grow like the channel, not just like as viewership, but grow what I can do with this channel and what I can reach out to different people to hopefully see. So I decided that I was going to take it upon myself to try to see things through a different point of view and a different aspect. So for my second take, I decided to go into something that I have been very vocal about for like a long period of time, and to really force myself to go over the fence and look at it through different eyes. So we are about to talk about Rob Zombie's Halloweens. Something that I have been extremely vocally negative about. So I know you have been on Instagram too, man. And it's really good to have you here. So if you're not familiar, I'm going to give you my old take on the Rob Zombie Halloween films. And then I'm going to give you kind of my second take. Basically, if you've watched my videos for quite a period of time, you're going to know my negativity towards the Rob Zombie era of the Halloween franchise. I extremely hated. Actually, I kind of. His wife is actually on the Google Doc list, so I'm not going to lie to you, Dick. I kind of see why. That, and I really liked her in Lords of Salem. So I guess I should probably talk a bit about Rob Zombie and my relationship to his films, because that's kind of a good way to go with it, because I don't want to go into this seeming like I don't like the guy or anything that he's done. And I think you're probably going to be a bit surprised by my second take reaction that I want to do. So anybody that's ready to turn off because they normally see me talking a lot of negativity about Rob Zombie and Halloweens and stuff like that, you might want to stick around. So Rob Zombie was a musician, well, still is a musician, and I actually kind of dig a lot of his music. Yeah, see, I don't get the hate for Lords of Salem. That's his best film, in my not so humble opinion, because I'm never going to lie and say my opinion is humble. Lords of Salem is my favorite. Now, the first film that he did was, I'll get to that. So the first film that he did was, of course, House of a Thousand Corpses. a lot of it was like just cribbing stuff from like other movies that influenced him. And really, that's kind of what you expect for a first-time director that is so influenced by movies. Rob Zombie, people like rag on him. Rob Zombie is one of the biggest horror collections like ever. He does study and he knows his horror stuff a lot, and I'm going to kind of get into that with the Halloween stuff. I'm going to surprise you guys a bit. But House of Thousand Corpses is a solid start of a film, but I think as it goes on, it really kind of like drags a bit. I really love the Firefly family. I love that it was a creator on Shudder actually. When 31 was coming out, actually he promoted it on there, and he did a lot of like conversations and talks on it, and he actually he curated his own section of movies, much like he did. I'm not sure if many people remember this, but if you watch Turner Classic Movies, the channel, they actually used to have something on there called TCM Underground, and that was a series that was originally started by Rob Zombie. We would show like a lot of different films on Turner Classic Movies, different things like Freaks or like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. See different like more horror movies, and that was curated and hosted by Rob Zombie for at least the first season or so of it. They went on. I think they had. I'm not sure if they went with another host or went differently. But I think the TCM Underground went on without Rob Zombie afterwards. But he did a great job as the host of that series, and he brought something different to one of us to it. The second movie would be Chainsaw. I'm not quite sure, because it's rumored that House of Thousand Corpses was originally supposed to be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, that he was pretty much turned away from making a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, and that he made his own movie out of it, House of Thousand Corpses. The sequel to that would have been Devil's Rejects. Devil's Rejects, was that the one? And Devil's Rejects is much more solid. There is a significant growth of Rob Zombie as both a director and a writer with Devil's Rejects. Like was mentioned earlier, it is very over the top. It is very much, and it puts in a lot of the stuff that we would come to know Rob Zombie for. A lot of the kind of the over top, a lot of the some of the graphic violence, the nudity, the swearing, that type of stuff. Well, the kind of the edginess. A lot of people, like for a lot of people coming in that were newer horror fans, Rob Zombie was kind of like a breath of fresh air to a lot of them after seeing a lot of PG horror and a lot of the kind of like the Korean remake ripoff of horror. So Rob Zombie, for a lot of people with House of Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, was actually a breath of fresh air at a time when horror seemed to be like kind of censored, almost like muted down. His voice wasn't, and for a lot of people, for a lot of kids, especially kids that were getting in to horror, that wanted to see the coolness, wanted to see that they didn't want to see like the ghost story or the PG-rated horror. They wanted to see the cool stuff that their parents talked about. They wanted to see the Tom Savini eras, the eras of the Gore Zone magazines of horror. And Rob Zombie was actually a big proponent in bringing that style of horror back. So I definitely have to give him credit for that. The next two films he did were the two Halloween films, Halloween and Halloween 2. We'll get back to those in a minute. I'm not going to really talk about the Haunted World of El Super Beasto. It's okay. It's an animated film. I will say that I really did like Lords of Salem. I think that's his most accomplished film that he's ever made, and it's his most adult film that he's ever made. It definitely like leans into a lot of the tropes of the 70s witchcraft satanic series of horror films, and I really, really strongly give, if you saw that one and you weren't quite sure on it before, give that one a second take, give it a second chance, and look at it again. Next would come 31, and 31 was a crowd-funded horror film. And 31 is a movie that starts so bloody brilliantly that I think that's part of the thing that shoots itself in the foot. Richard Brake, who has, we're on the horror, who has been in a lot of like Rob Zombie's films, actually has an amazing role in 31. It is one of the greatly introduced horror villains. Amazingly done. And they said, oh my God, it's like he's playing the Joker in a way. And it's kind of comical because Richard Brake actually, he did play, sort of. He played Joe Chill. He's actually the guy that shoots Batman's parents. So there you go. Richard Brake shot Batman's parents. So yeah, go look go look that up. I'm not lying. That's the thing that happened. Uh, but 31 overall falls apart. It's I feel like he got bored with it because there are slivers of brilliance. Yep, he's in Mandy. In in that film, the opening of 31 is brilliant. You know, love or hate 31, the opening of that film is bloody brilliant. Uh, and that actor really, really does an eerie job in that role. That being said, the opening being brilliant is where it ends for me for that. The characters, the carnies aren't really that likable. There's time spent to try to develop them. It doesn't really work because we don't get any development on the. Oh, Mandy is actually a really fun film. I wouldn't say fun, but actually it's a good film. Um, but it's it falls apart with the other clowns. The other clowns really aren't that good. There's like a kind of like a small clown. There's kind of like a Hitlerish clown. Uh, doesn't isn't done very well. The reasoning behind the whole 31 really we really never find out. It's there's no real sense to that, and it's a shame. And we get to see Doomhead, that's Richard Brake's character, come back at the end of the film, and just be brutal again. And it all it made me think was, why are we not seeing a film about this character? I want more of this character. Hopefully, maybe he'll do something with that character down the road, and actually we'll get a cohesive, like, really good film with about Doomhead. It's definitely something that he should look into. He's going to do a third. He's doing a third. If it's not already made, it's actually definitely in production, and that is the third Firefly film. So the third part in the trilogy for, of course, the Devil's Rejects, Thousand Corpses trilogy. There's a third one of those coming. Now let's get back to Halloween 1 and 2. This is the first time that Rob Zombie took something that wasn't an original film and decided to go in very trepidatiously to do John Carpenter's Halloween. Rob Zombie hated remakes. He really did. He was very vocal about hating remakes. So the fact that he was going to remake Halloween was a huge shock to a lot of people in the horror community. But if you had watched Halloween 30 Years of Terror, which is a documentary that came out about the Halloween series, and still is, I guess, the best documentary for Halloween that is out as of yet. Yeah. Oh, no, five's good, actually. I like four. No, five's not that great. Four. I like four. I'll do like a Halloween retrospective again one of these days. Hey, Scolder. You missed the Doctor Who part, but you're here for the second takes. And we're talking Rob Zombie. We're specifically talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween. I did like a kind of a background on the Rob Zombie era. But so, in Halloween 30 Years of Terror, they interview a lot of people. One of the people that they interviewed during this time is Rob Zombie. And if you watch that documentary, you would pretty much say that, my God, 20 viewers. It would be nice, actually, after last night. I was a little disappointed last night, so it'd be nice if I can get a few viewers here tonight. I actually, it was the best part of that documentary. I really appreciate anybody that hits the like button. Anybody that hits this like button and shares it, that means a lot to me. I work my ass off for you guys, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it. So yeah, he was the best part of the documentary, Halloween 20 Years of Terror. And he just brilliantly, like, concisely talked about the Halloween franchise like he knew it. He talked about it in the way that if somebody came and put me on camera to talk about, and I put me on camera to talk about the Halloween franchise, a lot of the things that he said in that documentary were things that I would have said. And it made me excited. I saw a kindred spirit in Rob Zombie. So when I originally saw the films, I was very disappointed. I've actually spoken about the fact of my disappointment and when it came to Rob Zombie's Halloween films. But that's not what we're going to talk about tonight. I've already talked about that. I've talked about that ad nauseum. So what we're going to talk about is the fact that I went back and I don't want to say forced myself, because that seems like the wrong thing to say, and rewatched it. And I wanted to rewatch it with a different, like, mindset, with a different, like, with a different view of it. I went in first not just not taking them as films on their own. I tried that before, and it still didn't work for me. But here's the thing. I also wanted to take this as, what if I was somebody going in to this series for the first time? Because for a lot of people, and we have to understand this. I grew up with the original Halloween films. They're entrenched in my mind and in my brain. It's really hard for me to look at something done so radically differently, and actually be able to like to be unbiased. It's really, really hard to do that. But it was time for me to actually grow my ass up and go in and look at it in a light in a more of a critical light that it should be looked at in. And that's what I decided to do. I wanted to take it as somebody going in watching this that has never, like, it kind of has never seen it before. That was a big deal for me. For some people, you have to understand this is their Halloween. This is their first introduction. And for like some younger viewers who are more like the hardcore, like the horror and the gore and stuff like that, as much as I hate to say this, for some like younger viewers, watching the original Halloween just may not, it still works for me. It definitely still scares me. I think it's a very effective horror film. For some people, it may not. For especially like younger viewers who want more of the edgy horror, the gore, and like they want the newer, the young, like attractive new actresses, and kind of like more threatening, Michael Myers, and they do get that. I do still think that giving him such an origin was a mistake and takes away from the aura of Michael Myers. And that, woof, is one reason why you're super cool. Physical media guy. But that being said, I can now see much better than I could before why this works for a lot of people. Even though I do think that the first film is kind of schizophrenic. In the first film, we get to meet Dr. Loomis, who I think, Malcolm McDowell, good choice, in the role of Dr. Loomis. He does a really good. Malcolm McDowell. I just find really fun to watch. He's just so good in what he does. Brad Dourif in the role of the sheriff. Brackett is amazing. Danielle Harris, who's good in the film, would become better in the sequel. We'll actually get into that actually. Now Dag Frake, the guy that would, like, this kid, a very unusual looking kid actually, that would play the role of like young Michael Myers. Basically, he does the job that's intended for him. I found his character extremely annoying, but oh yeah, I've got this. I used to have the series Dead, but I'm not sure I've got it here now though. But yeah, so there's a Deadwood movie or something coming, isn't there? But yeah, I did get more out of this than I ever got out of it before rewatching the first one, and I can see, like, I could see the cinematography was pretty damn good. And I liked a lot of aspects of the, they're actually bringing it back. I'm not sure it's a movie or a series. I think it's a movie. I'd have to look it up. But so I actually got to enjoy Rob Zombie's Halloween on a different level than I normally do. I still prefer all the other Halloweens, much like stronger to this. But that being said, I can see why there are people out there that actually really, really like the Rob Zombie Halloween film, the original one, and why they really like it. The biggest surprise, though, is what I got out of the second one. The second Halloween was my most hated Halloween of all time, and a lot of people would always tell me, like, go back and watch it. It's actually better than the first one. Go back and watch the, go back and watch it. There's actually like different layers to it, and so what I decided to do was I was going to watch the second film, but not as a Halloween film. I was going to watch it as a continuation of the first film, and it kind of its own film type of thing. Yeah, screw Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I'm going to give it some credit though in this one, and it's hard for me to do because I'm very, very not a fan of the film. Even watching the film now, I actually didn't like the film. But the thing is, I now see why people do. and I don't think I could before. I wanted people. I really was felt like people like explain to me why exactly what's so good about this. But I I do get it. Um, and a lot of things make sense. A lot of things are throwbacks. Um, what did you hate most about the second one? Was it the white horse? Because yes, e- even to this day, as I'm going to say nice stuff about the second Rob Zombie film, the white horse is bullshit. Yeah, yeah, that was a bad trope and extremely. There's there's only 2 or 3 seasons did it, but actually, so that you may have seen them all. But there are good parts, and it does tie the characters in well. Uh, what I do, the execution of the whole storyline. That's the thing. As a fan of Halloween, as a super fan of the Halloween franchise, the Rob Zombie films don't work for me. As somebody looking at it through a fan of Rob Zombie film eyes and a fan of the Rob Zombie Halloween, I do have to admit that he does at least put some consistency into the films. Uh, this is really hard for me to admit. Hey, Ian, but I was wrong on a couple of things. I I've obviously berated the writing on this a lot, but there's as I was watching it today, before I went to work, there was a lot more, like, I took notes in that while I was doing it. There was a lot more. There's a lot more that I actually did that I got about it. The portrayal of Laurie, you kind of almost got to take Laurie as not being Laurie Strode, but being this new Laurie, whatever character that just happens to be named Laurie Strode, or Angel, color Angel, in the new film. She's not Jamie Lee Curtis. She's never going to be Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't think that she should be. But no, and I completely get it. But I get what he did this time, and I think it was the first time that I got what he did. Her character is really annoying and really horrible. She's likable in the first film, and she's like really kind of like super annoying and yelling and screeching, and uh, and I liked Danielle Harris's character more in the second film. Danielle Harris does actually a really good job in it. Uh, it's like probably yeah, and that I think liking Danielle Harris and seeing the difference in her character from the first film to the second film is when it clicked for me. Uh, Laurie's character and Daniel Harris's character, Annie, the kind of switched through their experiences in the first film. Laurie became, the experience of what happened in the first film broke her, and she goes into this kind of this alternate persona of the more like what Annie used to be like. She's more the party girl, record shop. She's not a fun character. She's not a nice character. Annie has gone from being the party girl, the sexy, less party type of girl, to being more of the Laurie type character, that's more introspective and thoughtful and at home. They've changed places in a lot of what they do. Oh yeah, but that's the thing. You really hated the boyfriend, right? That's because William Forsythe's such a damn good actor. Um, I'm not talking about the John Carter one right now. Oh, Ian. Oh, I'm sure Ian. You must have seen the original Halloween. If you haven't seen the original, definitely see it. And watch Black Christmas too, because that's one of the greatest movies of all time. I stand by that. But yeah, and one of the things I really didn't like was the portrayal of Loomis in H2. Um, and Loomis's character is completely different than he was in the first one. And at first, I just thought it was off. Like he was just like, okay, screw it, I'm going to write Loomis however I want to do. This is my Loomis type of thing. But basically, what he does is Loomis fails in the first film. He really fails Michael, and he becomes this kind of like media self-obsessed character, where to the point where he's very, very abrasive. And when I originally saw the film, I saw that as just his character being really abrasive, and it being inconsistently written. Or I'm just putting this out there. Maybe, just maybe, uh, this is the act that Rob Zombie, sorry, that I just read your comment there, that Loomis puts on uh, to get over the fact that he failed big time, and and at the end of the day, when it comes to the point of him, when Michael comes back, he he runs there again, because there's no old Loomis, new Loomis. It's the same one. It's just they've all been damaged in a different way from on the first film. And Laurie acts out. She becomes really, really an annoying character. Annie withdraws more. She becomes more of a homebody. Her relationship with her father becomes better. Her relationship with Laurie is strained because when they look at each other, then they see all the bad stuff that happened. Annie's scars are physical. They're on her. Laurie's scars are inside of her. And Loomis's scars is the mask of the new character that he is. He's still the same person, but that person failed. That person got a lot of people killed. There's hurt. And that changed the way that I looked at the characters in this film. There was the white horse thing is still BS. That just doesn't work for me. But I have to give credit where credit is. You just watched Black Christmas? I'm glad you like. That's one of my favorite. That is my favorite movie of all time. Like not just horror movie, scholar. That is the original Black Christmas is actually my favorite film. And there would be no Halloween, in my opinion, without Black Christmas. You can find the original. How do you not find the original John Carter movie? That is so easy to get. It is. You can find that. Trust me, it's a really good film. You will enjoy it. So there is my second take on the Rob Zombie Halloween films. They work on their own, taken outside the context of Halloween. They still do not work for me as films within the Halloween franchise. That being said, I now can see why they have garnered so many fans. They're not my style of Halloween films at the end of the day. But who am I to tell somebody what their style of of Halloween films should be? If you got a 4K system, the 4K, Ian, is out for like, I think usually, well, I bought it was around $20, but I'm not quite sure what it is right now. And the 4K actually has a Blu-ray disc with it as well. But there you go. That's my first episode of Second Take here. And looking at the films from an alternative point of view. And I put a lot of work into this. So I really sat down and watched the films. So and took notes and read stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And please, honestly, please let me know if you did or if you didn't, because it's something that I would do in the future with other films, and maybe not just films, but franchises and stuff. Thanks, PlayStation. I wanted to put it out there and just say, thanks, Andy. I can look and try to see things from more of a critical point of view and put myself into that aspect of it. Thank you. I was very nervous, guys, Ian, about doing this portion of it, because I am somebody that is extremely not a fan of Rob Zombie's Halloween. So I thought that a lot of people that were fans of Rob Zombie's Halloween would shut me out right away because of the fact that I have been proponently against the film overall. And I thought people that didn't like the film might watch this and kind of shut me out to the fact that they think it's kind of a cop out to come back and do a different take on it. But I did want it to do it from an emotional aspect, which is the way that I normally do it. I wanted to do it from an actual critical aspect of taking these in the context that I think that they deserve to be done in. And for that, I do, they're still not my cup of tea. They're not my thing. But I completely understand how they can be somebody's cup of tea and they can be somebody's thing. I can no longer take them as badly done movies or movies that I would like just put across as like, not true Halloween films or like, just slickly produced kind of MTV style stuff. It's not. He actually does have like a purpose and a motive and a motif, and he sticks with it. So I would definitely give him credit for that. So if you if you ever hated on me before for my thoughts on Rob Zombie's Halloween, there you go. That's more of my thanks, Ashley Jackman. Kind of more in depth aspect of it. Strange on a Train. So what about Strange on a Train? Oh, so I'm saying what? That I'm sorry, Scuba Clever. I missed what you said there. I was actually looking at my drink at the time because I was thirsty. You need to Ian, physical media. Trust me, you got one in your collection. I got it over there. It's like sexy and 4K and beautiful and just perfectly done. The color correction and the yeah, no, I don't actually. Do you know where a lot of my physical copies go? My digital copies go in actuality, like to my kids. Some go to my better half for traveling, and some go to like some friends of mine. My cousin actually. Well, he's got more digital stuff. I can understand PlayStation because I'm I'm a if you saw my video last night, PlayStation 9, I'm not sure if you did or not. I made the video after. Oh, I gotta check that out, but I can't buy anything right now because I just had to. Yeah, hit with some stuff. So, what was I saying? Oh my God, I hate that. I was just about to say something. You are a silly kitty cat. You know that? I love you. You silly cat. Just ran high chance. Oh, last night I was sick. So when I made this video here, I was, and I'm pretty sure that you guys are pretty much aware of the fact I was a little out of it. I was very kind of like I was a little bit more shaky, a little bit more stuttery than I normally am. JL. And that's the thing. I was like I was very like more of my stuttery self last night than I would have been on any other video ever. And that was basically because after seizure, we have this thing that's kind of called, like some people like call fogging. And I was at my more of my weakest points down here making this video. But I really I felt like I had to, that I had to do it. Hey, g'day. That I couldn't let myself be defined by the fact that RJ Fox, he's a Canadian actor, but a great Canadian actor, not my favorite actor. Oh no, I was just I had a seizure yesterday, a small seizure, and it affected my video a bit last night. I was more shaky, I was a bit more stuttery, and because I stuttered a lot when I was in my youth. I actually, for a long amount of time, I couldn't enunciate, and I would stutter. It took a lot for me to get over that. I studied I studied voice, and I got into acting and that to get over my stutter. So the fact that I'm able to come on here, there's a lot worse things, Cuba Clever. I appreciate that, but at the end of the day, the way I choose to think about it is there's so many things that that people go through that epilepsy is definitely, like, on the lower range of the scale that I could be going through. So it is what it is. But so to say the PlayStation 9 there, never feel never feel that the way that you talk, or if you pause or you stutter. You watch some of my early videos. Uh, I'm thankful I have family and movies and cats and you guys. So I'm very lucky that way. But yeah, never feel that you're lessened, or that you can't come on the screen. Or some people feel like I don't think I'm attractive enough to go on the screen. Some people will say that, or I don't want to put myself there, because there is the troll aspect and all that thing and all that. And for some people, I can understand that that does bother them. And when I first came on here, a lot of that stuff, yeah, lip lips from your kids. A lot of people like actually get a shy. You can get with. Nobody's too ugly. Like, don't say that. I love y'all right back, man. Because everybody on here, and like whether you're commenting or you've got a voice, and one of the important things that I wanted to do with this channel, and as I brought it into the end of last year, is to I really kind of fell in love with the comment section, right? And I did this, and you guys, as you guys know, you watch my channel. Basically, I did this whole like kind of the C section, which I call it, kind of, and it was like I would respond on camera to the comment section. But you guys put so much work and so much effort into a lot of those comments and the stuff that you said, that I wanted to give you guys a voice on here, and to go from that. And that is where the movie club's genesis actually came from. Is from reading the C section on some pre-taped videos. Was to come in here and to give you guys a voice to speak, not just to me but to one another, and kind of make a club, and hopefully people make friends, and people that have channels can highlight their channels to other people. Like Steph the other night, when she put it on here, well, she put her website on here as well, because she does some amazing writing. And if you've ever like seen Stephanie Crawford, who does a lot of the podcasts on here, that come on here and talk. She's in like Screamcast, just so this. She does a bunch of stuff, and she is actually an amazing writer too, and I don't highlight that enough. But I gotta say, if you do get to see her writing, I really recommend. She did stuff on like on Tales from the Crypt. She's done some really great like analyses, and definitely one of my favorite people, with Brian Sire, who does Jets to Discs, and of course Pure Cinema, and has definitely kind of branched out and done a lot of that stuff. There's a new Jets to Discs, by the way, which I've gotten half through because I was retired, but I want to start over and watch and listen to it again, because they talk about like discoveries. Him and Rob Gluza, who many of you guys are going to know from Shockwaves. Well, Nerds at Heart, that's the thing, and that's why when a lot of people ask me about like political questions and stuff like that, I kind of steer back, because I do have my political thing, like stuff, but I don't want to bring that onto the channel. I don't want to bring that onto you guys. You get enough of that stuff on TV and on the news and like in everyday life. And I have friends that are liberal, conservative, NDP, which is here in Canada, Green Party. That doesn't matter. What I want us all to connect with is our love of film and media, and just our creativity. That's what's important on here. That's why I don't go into a lot of the deeper stuff. Like I'll go and do like critical film analysis, and I'll talk the way the film like deals with certain political aspects, like I did with. That's the thing, and I have friends that actually were like Ian, that voted. Like that's the thing that I and things. Hey, I like to. That's one thing I will say. I do like her, and a lot of people don't. But I can actually get where you're coming from, but either way, whether it doesn't. As long as you're good to other people, be good to others. It kind of isn't even a church, and it's okay that you hate them and that I like them, because at the end of the day, we can still talk movies, and that's the glue that puts it together, right? That's what this channel is all about. It doesn't matter. Just just be good to the people around you. That's important. So this is Hail to the Deadites. So it was supposed to be a documentary that was made. A few years back, they started to talk the about making a documentary. So Hail to the King. So Hail to the Deadites was supposed to be a documentary that was made, and it was made by people that I'm trying to see if I can see it over there. I'm not sure if I got over there or not. But there's a documentary that came out a few years back. It was kind of like on slashers and stuff like that and horror. And it was mostly filmed from conventions, really. It was done like filmed from a lot of conventions. So the guy that directed that, and he made some other films that were, oh, some were okay, some weren't very good. He was doing a documentary called Hail to the Deadites. Now he didn't get the funding that he wanted. This was done back in the day. That's true, actually. Uh, but this shirt was like kind of like a way to support. It was to pay, it was to buy the shirt. So I bought this shirt, and if you actually, you can't see it over here now, but I bought like these two tins, a Hellraiser tin and a Halloween 5 tin. We want to talk Halloween 5, and he had them there, and they were priced, you know, affordably, but I wanted to buy them anyway just to talk about just to like support the film. Unfortunately, the film as of yet has not been made. Well, it has, you know, it's in production and has been in production there for a while. I'll have you right back, and you know, hopefully you're getting some good dinner. Me and my better half don't get a chance to eat a lot. I decided, well, like I asked her last night, so why don't we like do like a one night a week where we actually sit down, we kind of we make a meal together, and we just sit down and we eat it at the table and we talk, and just kind of like a dinner date type of night type of thing. So we're gonna be trying that. So you know, something different. But anyway, so this movie still here has not been made. It's still kind of in kind of production, and I think he's going to do it much in the way that he did the last one, which I think was called Under the Scares. I think it's called Under the Scares. It has a great cover. I'm looking over there to see. Yes, it's right there. So hold on a second. I'll show you the cover. Give you an idea. He's really good at doing like design. So this is the cover for Under the Scares. I think all the Sharknadoes are actually out on DVD. There's actually a set with all of them, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a set now with all of them. So look at this cover. This looks like an awesome cover. Isn't this like amazing artwork? So this is an okay documentary, right? But if you saw this somewhere, would you pick it up? Yeah, you probably would, just look at that. For the artwork alone, it's actually an 80-minute documentary, and it has like you know, French subtitles as well, because this was made in Montreal, and we get like interviews with a lot of different people on there. So we get like George Romero, Herschel Gordon Lewis, Debbie Rochon. You know, there's like Tom Sullivan. There's like just a bunch of like Kaufman. Of all Evil Dead art. You're a huge Evil Dead fan. I was actually talking to a guy that I work with today. A really nice guy. Looks like an air release guy. Yeah, it does. It looks really cool. And he's like a huge fan of like the of like horror, which is really surprising. Really nice guy. And he was talking to me today about the fact that he's watching like Evil Dead for, I think it was the first time, right? So he's watching, and he's got like he's watching on a computer. Yeah, he's got the disc put in, the DVD put in. He's got like the headphones in. Like the Scarebanatics experience, it makes sense. It works in the same way Cubic Lover that, and I would say that roller coasters work. My better half doesn't like horror movies. She loves roller coasters. Roller coasters scare the crap out of me. Not gonna lie to you, I've been on a couple, and that's where I want to leave it. My better half wants us to go on lots of roller coasters. She is the Mick Foley of roller coasters. You know what I mean? She loves them, just like Foley does. But yeah, you get it's just kind of like a kind of a visceral, like kind of a feeling like that you can once the movie's over, you can you get hopefully you get the enjoyment out of it, you get your blood racing, that type of thing. For some people, it's about the scare, it's about the jump, it's about the boo, that type of thing. But for a lot of people, like that's initially what it's about, and later it becomes more about what it is now. You start there's certain things that you start to love about it, there's certain tropes. Friday the 13th. Series of films. A lot of people like, they like him or you don't like him. But one thing that hey, roller coasters. Yeah, I know. But formula works. Hellraiser. Maybe. I'd rather see him work on original stuff. I really would. I do think 13 was a misfire. 31 was a misfire. But I think that that there's good stuff coming out from him yet. He definitely has the potential. You guys have bonded on Roller Coaster Hatred. But do you like the movie Roller Coaster? Huh? Oh my God. Speaking of Mick Foley, I got the beard and I'm doing the thumbs thing tonight. There's my Mick Foley-esque part for you. Did you guys got Roller Coaster the worst movie ever? Do I need to remind you, Daikatana, of a movie called Things? You need to watch the 1989 movie Things. And then we'll talk about worst movie ever, because there's a level of worst movie pain that you have to go through. And that is Things. And the plan, yeah, that's it. I'm hardcore. How big's my Doctor Who collection? Not, it's a fair size. I'd say, if you don't mind, like at the end of the video here, go back and watch the Doctor Who portion of it. You're going to get to see autographs from like Doctor Who's and companions and the unit guys, Doctor Who like box sets and stuff like that. So it's decent. It's a decent size, and it's got a lot of really cool stuff. So though a lot of people on here really didn't like Doctor Who, like Andy and guys like that, they did like it. But I got to give credit. Daikatana didn't like Doctor Who, but he stayed around for the whole Doctor Who portion of it, and I really appreciate that. Oh, thanks. Oh, hold on a second. I'll just show you. You kind of got to see. I'm not even joking. It was out. Intervision, the Severin kind of like spin-off company, which by the way is going to get bigger this year. They're going to put a lot of work into it. Plan 9 from Outer. Oh, it's worse than Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yes. I have seen much of the worst films of all time, Z-grade films. I actually love them. I have a special place in my heart for a lot of them. I was Mystery Science Theater. I was MSTing things before MST3 existed. So I'll be right back. You think Kit Kat? What do you think, my baby? You think things will freak him out? I think it's the worst movie ever made. This is Things. See this? Why is Things out on DVD and not Blu-ray? Yep, that's the one, Daikatana. That's the one. You see that? Ignore all that, because oh, I've seen Deathbed. This is worse. This is worse than Deathbed. I want you to... I've seen Troll 2. I've seen The Room. I've seen Deathbed. The Bed That Eats. This is much worse. You see that there? I own this, man. I've watched this like 3 or 4 times now. Yes, Amber Lynn is in it. And you know what? She's completely clothed the entire time. Yep. It's worse than... And Slender Man. And Smiley. Which itself is a whole mess. Because those are different types of bad. There's bad as in... This movie just kind of sucks. Like the Bob Man. It's a bit of a disappointment. Slender Man, it's a big disappointment because they could have done a lot more with that character arc. But this is a whole original, glorious bad on another. This is like, you see Nail Gun Massacre and like, wow, Nail Gun Massacre is a pretty bad movie, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. And then you watch things and you're like, man, I got to get myself through this. And after you watch this, Barry Gillis is the son of Jamie. Really? Are you serious? Because if that's true, you are dropping some knowledge on me that I did not know. It's because Jamie Gillis, if you watch my videos, and I know you do, is actually one of the better actors in adult films. Trust me, I own this. It's usually very cheap when Severin have their sales. Their Intervision titles are actually extremely cheap. They're shot on video type films. And I do think that everybody should have at least 1 or 2 of these in their collection. I would say, get this phone out. Cubic Lever, this is a new level of bad. And I know you're a fan of like a lot of really, really good kind of quality, kind of classic films per se. This is the criterion of badness. It truly is. Have you ever seen this at Sunrise Records? No, I haven't actually. It'll be nice. But it's really, I'm blown. My mind is blown that that Barry Gillis Jamie Gillis's son. Well, the acting fell way far from the... Yeah. Are you serious about that? I'm actually seriously going to look that up. My God, because that kind of blows me away. Because his dad is a really, really good actor for adult films, and you know, for that type of stuff. I kind of think you're messing with me. You're messing with me. That is so not Jamie Gillis. I just basically I use my iPad. Hopefully it comes out okay, and well, good internet. No, it's not. He's actually, ironically, you know where he's from? You know where Barry Gillis is from? Nova Scotia, where I'm at right now. This was shot in Ontario, but that guy there, he's from Nova Scotia, the province that I now reside in. So, Barry Gillis from Nova Scotia stars in Things. I kind of wonder if Phelan has ever reviewed this. Phelan is a YouTuber from Nova Scotia. Oh, you mean like streaming services type of thing? I've got the Apple TV thing upstairs, the scariest ever, and I've got like Amazon Fire Stick, which I actually prefer. I don't watch a lot of streaming stuff, a lot of like some Netflix original shows and stuff. Like You was incredible, by the way. Stuff like that, you know. But and if I can have physical media in that's my preference for watching things. My better half is much more. She's like 7 or 8 years younger than me, and she'll watch a lot more when it comes to like the streaming sites. But I watch Shudder, like stuff like that, and that makes me pick up stuff. Get stranger less. Yeah, this is much different. But Intervision did a really good job on it, which is Severin. They did a really good. Oh, I am so there for Hulu, because that changes. You will never want to watch network television again once Hulu. Like, thanks, Dave. Physical media forever. Hulu, by the way, is not physical media. It's it's a streaming service for TV stuff. It's like they have movies and stuff like that, but for me, Hulu was a big deal because I work a lot, so I didn't have time to like sit like to watch TV, and I couldn't and I PVR stuff, and it would like stick in my thing forever. I had like TV shows like Criminal Minds, Law and Order, SVU, regular shows like that, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, that type of thing. But I'd actually end up buying the box sets or some shows that don't have physical releases. Hulu was what I used to watch, but I used to have to go a long ways around. It was a really kind of twisty road to try and get Hulu here in America. And yeah, SVU, man, you gotta watch some SVU, especially, man, the episode with Robin Williams, Physical for Life, too sweet. You just like the math thing. That's like your thing, Kubrick lover. It's like your it's like your thumbs up, thumbs down. It's your thing. So there we go, guys. I've often wondered. I'll leave you with a question. I do a lot. Doctor Who's life. Doctor Who for life. Then you have to watch Things, Daikatana, and you will have a new worst movie. The Click. It's kind of comical with the whole Click thing. A couple times when I actually got back into wrestling, it was because of things like that. Like usually it was somebody, like one of my friends would be saying like, "There's a wrestling character that you got to check out." Nowadays, if somebody said that to me, I'm sure they'd say, "There's a wrestling character you got to check out. It reminds me of you." They'd be talking about Mick Foley, and not in the good years. But back then it was like, there's a, and I think at the time one of my friends thought, I had a fairly big ego, I guess, type of thing. I'm not gonna get into that because he did it for a good reason, and I miss Mean Gene. He was. What made me buy Things? I heard Things was an extremely bad movie. I'd heard that it was one of the worst movies ever made, if not the worst movie ever made. Depends on which tank you're talking about. There's a couple people that played him. The first tank was really creepy. But if there's anything that I want to talk about when it comes to wrestling right now, I understand that, Ian. I completely understand why. But would have been the All Elite thing that came on today. I'm not going to lie, guys. I've been following All Elite Wrestling since the announcement there, and I'm extremely excited. If you're a fan if you're a fan of wrestling, then I'll just mention this really quickly because you're going to see people like running from my channel like they do for Doctor Who. Is that All Elite was announced, and if you know what it is, you're ECW guy. I remember ECW. Then you may like All Elite, JL, because what's happening right now is that Cody Rhodes has, with some other people, has created a new wrestling company. It's meant to be it's not against the WWE. It's meant to be a different thing than the WWE. So the people that are coming into it, as you know, Cody Rhodes was recently in like New Japan Wrestling. Did some stuff with Ring of Honor, and he was in like the Bullet Club. Cody Rhodes was an Arrow. He was actually an Arrow. Actually, he was pretty good in that too. Jericho signed Jericho signed today. Pac signed today. I guess Neville is what a lot of people know him as. That's Jim Ross. He actually made a kind of a barbecue sauce. His wife actually passed away last year in a tragic car accident. Oh, really? Work for World Wrestling Federation? World Wrestling Entertainment now, I guess. We're not allowed to say Federation anymore, right? Because of the World Wildlife Fund. We lost that court case. So Neville, I guess if you know Neville is, then Neville is actually with All Elite Wrestling. If you don't know, he's a really freaking good wrestler, which they messed up. It's a bad company. Right now, they're looking at a TV deal, but nothing is known yet. But there are going to be a couple. There's three pay-per-views that are announced. One of them is actually being done as a charity pay-per-view for some shooting victims. But it's not real though. I never get it. It's not meant to be real. It's a soap opera for dudes. And no, not just guys. I see that's the sexist thing to say. I apologize. It's a soap opera for anybody that likes action, like action films. It's an action film soap opera. That's legitimately what wrestling is. Like they tried to make it seem like realistic back. Like when my pop's day, my dad's day, my uncle's day, they were like super into it. I remember back in the day, man. So my uncle, he's passed away now, was one of the guys that actually helped raise me, and he'd be watching it, right? And it wouldn't matter what it was. It could be like it could be WWF, it could be WCW, man. It could be like Glow Wrestling, and I kid you not, he would be like stomping his foot and putting his hand down, and he'd get real red in the face, like, I can't believe, look at that, like she's cheating. Can't the referee see? And it was great, and like even as a kid I knew, but I loved that reaction, and I think I love that when that's kind of cool when you meet somebody and they got like a passion about something that you're passionate about. Well, are you talking about the TV show Glow, the one that came on Netflix? That's amazing. Yeah, that's really well done. The Glow, the original series, was kind of like a cheesy, like women's wrestling organization, and it was like the Netflix show. Yeah, you can't go wrong with it. Glow and You are two of the Netflix shows that I can strongly recommend. Hopefully you'll like it. It's a dramedy. Glow is. It's a comedy drama, and it does. And I think it does a good job, and it does a few twists and turns. Yeah, but it was awful in such a cool way. Remember the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling? The documentary, by the way, the Glow documentary, if you have not seen it, that is on Netflix. If you that is something I recommend. Watch the documentary on Glow Wrestling. You'll definitely get a new appreciation for it. I haven't watched Maniac yet. Actually, it's one that I kind of like go back and forth on. So I'll eventually watch it. Yeah, Beyond the Mat was an amazing documentary, JL. One of the best that was ever made. And my favorite wrestler of all time. Oh God, I don't know. I grew up. I liked a lot of the people. I mean, like, I did like the wrestler. I'll let you know when I see me next Super Clever. But I actually don't know. Chris Jericho was somebody that I really enjoyed back in the day. I really liked. I really watched a lot of ECW and stuff like that. So I was kind of an RVD guy. I liked the original. Like I'm a big AJ Styles fan. I've been watching him since back in the ROH days before I went over to TNA. I watched a lot of that. Of course, one of my favorite wrestlers, unfortunately. Yeah. One of my favorite wrestlers was Chris Benoit. And we all know what happened with Chris Benoit. It was a tragedy. Did you really like Ready to Rumble for real? Black Swan. Black Swan's a great movie. I never picked up on the Mick Foley thing until tonight with the big beard and the plaid. Yeah. But yeah, I do recommend. I was a really big Bret Hart fan. And TNA's now Canadian. Actually, are they really? Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I did. I never really thought about it. TNA is not the same as it was. TNA was really good back in the day, guys. It really, really was. Like, they had all the best. Samoa Joe was there. The Alex Shelley was there, man. Yeah, like a weep, like a whole like weeping of like, happening close to where you live. It does suck now, man. I want to say it doesn't, but it does. And one of the person that I was a huge fan of steroids. I don't think I think like steroids may have been important, but I think a lot of it was head trauma. You have to understand that his big move was a flying headbutt off of off of the top rope onto a wrestler, and a lot of these guys they're actors, they're stuntmen. That's what they do. Concussions were huge, and he had like by the time that it happened, they said he had like the brain of like a 9-year-old dementia patient. That's scary to think about. What must have been going on in his mind in his last few days, and he'd lost his best friend in the world as well, which was of course Eddie Guerrero. And I can understand. Chris Benoit brought some of the greatest matches ever of all time, and he can never be in the Hall of Fame. And that's a fact, because no matter what, he still did what he did, and it broke my heart. Actually, I think you're right. You're an Owen Hart fan. That's the Blue Blazer character that you're talking about. But there's a great documentary on his brother Bret Hart called Wrestling with Shadows. And if you've never seen it, I really do recommend it. If you can get the physical copy of it, there's actually one that was put out by at Walmart, actually. And fellow Burton, right on. I used to live up in Alberta, Ian. Now, they had like, but the one that Walmart put out the extended Wrestling with Shadows, and the second disc with an Owen Hart documentary. Yes, you do see Nightbreed in the background. And JL, Nightbreed is one of the videos that actually got me complaining about not wanting to have Nightbreed because of the price it costs. It's one of my most watched videos ever. It's got like Shame on You Scream Factors, what things called. Obviously, I eat my words because Nightbreed is in the background. I actually got a copy for my oldest for her birthday one year. So she's also a huge fan of Nightbreed. So much so that she read the Scarlet Gospels that Clive Barker wrote, and realized, wow, Clive Barker's writing's really messed up. There we go, guys. I had to put back a bunch of Doctor Who stuff, as you guys can tell. A bunch of it. I think it's going to fail again. I think this is the second time, and the XFL is going to fail. It failed before. It's going to fail now because, I don't know. For some reason, Vince thinks it's going to work. I'm sorry. I'm not a believer. XFL didn't work the first time. It was a bit of a mess. It's still going to be a bit of a mess. But okay, if it gets Vince away and lets like Trips run the WWE much in the way that he's been running NXT. So, this was my thought. Here, I'm going to give you a quick fantasy booking thing, because I like to do this. I do this in my better half. So we were talking about a way that NXT, which has been the best wrestling on WWE Network, of their own original wrestling, how that could become like it's going to become a popular thing. So my idea, and you tell me what you think of this, guys, is that to get the whole bunch of NXT, the big NXT guys that are there now, and some guys that they're bringing in, basically, and to get it to the point where it's it's the coming up type show. It's like people are being traded over, they're coming up to Raw, they're coming up to SmackDown. So they do an episode where they introduce all the NXT people that are going to be coming up. I liked Riot Rex. It's like super cheesy fun. And so they all get there. They're in the ring basically, and they're getting ready for like the basic draft type of thing. And they say, no, this person's going to go to Raw, this person's going to SmackDown, you're being brought up to the major leagues, to the big time, right? You're missing my fantasy jail. I'm not going to take it personally. Just saying, you should listen to it. And basically at that point, they all just turn around and they just beat the crap out of everybody else in that ring. And they say, you know, we're not going to Raw. We're not going to SmackDown. You know, your show is no longer a step up. You know, we've been the better show for a long time now. It's time for us. You know, we're the younger show. We're the hungry brand. You know, screw Raw, screw SmackDown. We're the guys. We're not going anywhere. We're taking the top. We're taking the brass ring, and we're taking it with us. You guys are going to have to fight to get where we are. We're the new standard bearer, and go with it from there. What do you think? Not bad, huh? No. Backyard wrestling, not so much. I was actually almost in a backyard wrestling organization at one point, actually, back in the day when they were really big. I was asked to go into one of those. A lot of people got really hurt. Thanks, Ian. I actually, there's a couple times, actually. Once was for backyard wrestling. Once was for like a kind of a mixed martial arts division. I was actually asked to go into one of those as well. And I was thinking, I'm getting older. Probably not the best idea for me. And I think I made the right decision. I just got my ass kicked, that type of thing. You know, I'll stay watching movies and see other people getting their ass kicked and all that stuff. I actually like Vision Quest, Kubrick Lover, and I'm not going to say because it's a great movie, but because it's like part of my youth and the Madonna music and stuff like that. Not a great movie, but it's got a nostalgia factor for me. What's a bicycle move? Right. Vision Quest was Matthew Modine, wasn't it? Lucha Underground is still around for now. I'm not quite sure how long it's going to last. I'm kind of wondering now because I've seen it like years ago. It was for me. It was cool. Oh, that was Linda Fiorentino. No, yeah, he's a wrestler. High school wrestler in Spokane, Washington, has trouble focusing on his regime when a beautiful young drifter takes up temporary residence at his home. No, it's okay. I know what you're thinking about. There is a cool bicycle movie, by the way, which I really do like. What's it called? Breaking Away. I think Breaking Away was the bicycle movie. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, thanks. Yeah, I actually really like Breaking Away. That's got Dennis Christopher. I think I might be wrong, but I think that's Dennis Christopher, who would go on to be in Fade to Black and like a lot of other really great movies. Kevin Bacon movie. Jelly Wrestling is the best. Anyway, guys, I've kept you guys here too long, and I got to put back so many movies tonight. That's the worst thing about taking a big collection is you got to put back a big collection afterwards. Thank you so much for watching tonight, guys. It has been a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Whether you came in here for the Doctor Who part, or you came in for the second take horror, which I think went well, or you came in to see like a 5-minute fantasy wrestling thing, or just talking about whatever. I am Aaron. Thank you for joining me tonight. You guys are the movie club. This is my cat. You guys are awesome, and thanks for making it awesome, guys. Kubrick Lover, Wolf, Film Schlock, Andy, Ian, all you guys rock, and I will see you next time right here in the movie club. Have a good one, guys. Take Katana.